Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I hope everyone really had a great weekend and got to do some much needed things, whether professionally or personally. I hope that you were able to do that. Welcome to another week of live nonprofit content with your favorite nonprofit strategist, Asia Nasir. I am the founder of my consulting firm, Utopian Enterprise Business Solutions, where my mission is to help aspiring founders as well as existing founders fulfill their missions in real time. I am also an author of my book, Nonprofit Doesn't Mean No Profit, where you can find on Amazon. So I'm glad to see those that continuously follow my content each and every week. You're in for another, good time with me for the next 20 minutes or so. So welcome back. And for those that are new to my channel, new to my content, welcome. To coming on. Just know that each and every week on Monday between 9:30 and about 9:50, I'm here sharing on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube nonprofit content, and then at 10 o'clock on Instagram on my page, Utopian Enterprise. So yes, let's get right into this great information that I wanted to share with you today. Just in, speaking with some of my clients, and this is where a lot of times I get my content for what I want to talk about, is because I see a trend in some of the questions that my clients are asking me, or, other people are asking, in our initial consultation. So I want to address some of those because I'm sure you might be asking the same thing. And one of the things that especially grassroots nonprofits fail to get is funding, or they struggle with funding and being able to, secure the programs and services that they want, especially just getting started and not maybe having the visibility that other, nonprofits have that seem to, be having some success with funding. So today I wanted to share 5 top common reasons for grant application declines. So I want to start off by saying, just giving this disclaimer, while yes, every nonprofit should be going after grants. I mean, that's one of the major reasons why we go after, our 501c3, tax exempt status, is so that way we can now qualify to apply for grants. And that's free money. That is absolutely free money for a nonprofit organization to be able to, sustain the programs in which they're doing to help their community. So I'm a big proponent on every nonprofit just applying for grants for several reasons. Before we get into the 5 strategies, one of the reasons why is because even in the beginning, if you're not having success, you start to learn, what are some of the questions that grant funders ask, so that way you can say, hey, we need to tighten up here, or this is something I've never considered. This is something that we don't have an answer to. We need to start, as a team, the executive team, be able to build some of the data and the information that these grant funders are looking for. So it's an educational process nonetheless. So, it's good even in the beginning. So I would say, with that being in mind, please don't be discouraged if you've just like, look, I don't know if I made the right decision in starting a nonprofit. I can't get funding. But I'm going to share. So you got to stay till the end. You got to stay to the end of this video to get my suggestion as to what to do as a nonprofit, especially grassroots, when you're having, a trend of declines with applications. But I am hoping that the 5 tips or the 5 strategies that I'm going to be giving you today, as it relates to your organization writing grants, that it'll help you a little bit to see why are we, what are the top reasons why, and are we hitting all 5 and we need to, fix this, or it's 1 or 2 things that we need to fix. So let's get right into it. So strategy number 5, as it relates to why, what are the top 5 reasons that my grant applications could be potentially being declined. So strategy number 1, and this goes in line with what I tell my members of my, because I send them funding opportunities. And one of the first things I always say is, before you even start an application, you have to read the guidelines. Every grant application has guidelines. The guidelines is a blueprint for you to be able to see if this is going to be potentially a successful experience for your nonprofit in looking for funding from this grant funder, or if this is something that's going to be a total waste of your time. So with that being said, strategy number one is, one of the 5 reasons is incomplete and incorrect information on your grant application. One of the reasons why it's incomplete is because you didn't read the guidelines. The guidelines will specifically tell you what it is that you need, what it is that they want in answering the questions. Some of them tell you in the grant application, they want specific. We don't want general, we want specific. So if you didn't read the guidelines, one of the things that you'll miss is the details. It's all in the details. You're gonna miss it because you didn't read the guidelines. So there's specific things like how many people have participated throughout, since inception or since last year, or in this particular program or, project that you're doing. How many people, is this a new program? Some of you, if you're not reading the guidelines, you're just going to describe the project, or you'll describe the program, not realizing that they're asking for specific information. Like, as I mentioned, is this a new program or is this an existing program? And if it is an existing program, what is tell us about the experience, that you've had before. So if you don't have that information in the grant application, they're just going to toss your application aside. They are. They're not going to dig through it. They're not going to look through it. Why? Because the grant committee has like this high of grant applications. Some grant applications come through and they're getting 100 grant applications or more that they have to review to see who's going to be funded. So they're not going to sift through your application to see if if you don't follow the guidelines. They don't feel that you're worthy of the grant because you didn't take the time to see what was necessary in order to be approved, when they know they have another 50, 60 applications that did follow the guidelines. They're not going to sift through yours. So missing essential information is one, and providing inaccurate information. Now, I don't like to think that people will lie, but I have, as a grant writer, I've had a client that wanted me to just fluff numbers. I'm asking for specific numbers, and this client wanted me to just basically make up numbers because they didn't have the data. They didn't have the information. And instead of just saying we're new, or whatever, or acknowledging what I was telling them, which was you're not grant ready, you want me to input inaccurate information, which unfortunately I had to fire that client. So inaccurate information, because you'll be amazed. They do their research, they do their due diligence to see if the information that you're providing is accurate. And a lot of times they're just so savvy in being able to detect, fluff, truth from fact, because again, they have other grant applications from other organizations that are doing the same type of work that you're doing, that when you put in information that is just way off topic, way off, the truth, they can detect that fairly quickly. And one thing that you don't want to do is lose credibility, because even if you get declined for the truth, at least you have the ability to reapply again. But if you're an organization that's providing inaccurate information and that is the reason for your decline, that is not a grant funder that's going to be looking to fund you in the future, because you've lost credibility. And one thing that a nonprofit cannot afford to lose is credibility. So you want to make sure that you're providing accurate information, even if it's not huge numbers, if it's small, but it's the truth, it's concise, it provides impact, it tells the story. You want to stay with the small numbers versus larger numbers that's not the truth and you're not able to back it up. So, and missing information, you want to ensure that you are reading those guidelines before you start an application. And there's other reasons why you should read the guidelines as well that we're going to get into next. So second top reason why your grant application may be declined is because there's a misalignment with the grant funder's objective. So part of reading the guidelines, they will tell you who they do not fund, what they do not fund, but more importantly, what projects they do fund. Here are our four, areas that we support. If what you do for your nonprofit doesn't fall within those categories, it's a good chance that you're going to be wasting your time filling out that application, even if you write an amazing grant application. If it doesn't align and you can't demonstrate how your programs and your services aligns with their mission, which is who they want to support, the areas in which they want to support, you're going to miss the mark. You just wasted time on a grant application that is sure to be declined. So I've had clients before send me, my grant writing clients, they'll send me something like, oh, apply, I think this is a good grant that we should apply for. And when I look, it's like, okay, I'm looking at what your organization does, and I'm looking at this grant application that you sent me, and I'm like, what does, the areas that they support, I'm like, what does this have to do with what you do? Like, there's no commonality, there's no synergy, there's no nothing, so I'll give you an example. If you're running a food pantry, right? Say you're running a food pantry and you're feeding, youth, and you're feeding families or whatever. You have maybe an after school program that you're, feeding children after school. And you see an application that says, this is a youth program, a grant, this is for youth or whatever. You're like, oh, this is for us, and you apply. But when you read the guidelines says education, STEM. These are for programs that are, in support of, vocational and job readiness training. That is a total misalignment. That is a total misalignment. So even though you're working with the youth, the areas of the youth programs that they support doesn't align with yours, just in the scenario that I gave. So misalignment with grant funders' objective is a huge reason why your grant applications may not be, are not being approved. So it's, again, I can't stress enough, before you even start a grant application, make sure you read the guidelines, because it will give you a lot of information that you will either toss that grant application out and saying, this is not a match for us, or you'll be like, oh, this is a perfect match for us. This is going to be time well spent for us to try to, attract this type of funding. So that's reason number one. Reason number three that many nonprofit organizations, find that their applications are being declined is because they have what grant funders will call a weak narrative, a weak project or program narrative. You're not able to fully articulate in a clear way what it is that you do. What is it that this program does? How does it align with fulfilling your mission in real time? How does this program how does this program do that for your organization and for your community? It's not clear. It's very general, very broad description of what it is that you do. So this goes in line with your program development. If your program development is weak, so will your grant application. If you don't have a clear description of how your how your programs are run, it's going to be very difficult for a grant writer to be able to articulate in a clear manner your programs. To say that you offer so I'll go back to the scenario that I gave. Say job readiness, you offer job readiness. They want to know, broad, we offer this, we teach women how to be able to get back in, re-enter the workplace and, to help them get a job. These are women who are coming from, domestic violence situations or whatever. That's a broad description of what you do. What they want to know is a clear, concise, how is it that this helps? What is it that your programs, what is included in that umbrella of job readiness? the collaboration that you have. For example, our job readiness assists the women that are looking to re-enter into the workplace through resume building. We have partnered with so-and-so to help them develop skills that they may feel because of not working for a long period of time, because of their situation, they feel that they have no skills. We help them to develop skills that are transferable, to the jobs that they're applying for, help to build confidence that they have something to offer and can articulate it. We do interview skills. We help the women with interview skills. We partner with, say, Dress for Success to help these women to be able to have the clothing. So now you're explaining in a clear, concise way how you are helping these women to be able to become job ready. So not only are you helping them from the beginning with, transferable skills and being able to articulate it, but then, in written form, but you're also able to help the women articulate when they go for a job interview, and you're providing apparel for them to be able to continue to sustain the jobs because you've partnered with someone else to be able to assist in, dressing and having appropriate clothing for the workplace. And then whatever other programs. How long is your program, right? How long is your program? Does your program have a partnership with, maybe a temp agency or something like that that helps find the women job placement? These are the clear, concise information that grant funders want to know. To say that you offer job readiness and you help, they want to know in what way. Who's facilitating these programs? Do you have multiple instructors? Do you have a instructor? What is their background? These are things that they want to know. So it's clear and concise. And one of the major things that grant funders want to know is, how do you measure the outcomes? How do you measure the outcomes of this program? What is the success rate of these programs? Like I said before, as far as job placements. So if you have 20 women participating in this project, or 25 women, out of those 25 women, how many of them are employed, currently employed? Through going through the program and going through the resources and collaboration and partnerships that your organization has, have they received job placement? What is the measurable outcome that these women have? So, if that's the scenario. So that's a very important aspect. And if you cannot articulate that in your grant application, it is going to tremendously weaken your grant application. Because I keep saying to everyone, and I hope you're hearing me, as a nonprofit organization, you're a business. You are a business, and like any other business, you have competition. And if you have competition, that means those other grant applications that are coming in are articulating in detail, clear and concise, of their program, their project, and the measurable outcome. How are they going to measure, or what has been the outcomes from previous projects? And so that way you can bank on, this is a successful program. We have weeded out what doesn't work, and this is the measurable outcomes for our programs, and this is the benefit, and this is the transformation that people encounter when they participate in this program. So again, a weak project narrative is going to be a huge reason why you're going to be declined. Fourth reason that your organization may be receiving grant declines is you're not able to tell in a compelling way what the issue is that you're looking to resolve. What's the data? So if you work in an underserved community, which in a lot of cases, that's why nonprofits are created. There's some underserved community or unrepresented population or whatever. You have to be able to articulate why this is a need, or why this is a problem, where there's a void, where there's an inequity in the population that you're working with, or the gender that you're working with, to be able to articulate, in a compelling way, with data, with testimonials, to support this is a need in this community and why your organization is a solution to that need. If you cannot articulate that, it's hard for a grant funder to say, why are we giving money to this organization? I don't even see where the problem lies. Your job as whether you're a grant writer or you're writing a grant for your organization, is to be able to tell the details, to tell what the problem is in the community, and not just to say we have a high rate of crime. Okay. You have a high rate of crime. What are those rates? What's happening in the area in which so if you have something, that a program for young boys, and you want to take them out of gun violence, or you want to lower gun violence in your area, you have to articulate what is, in comparison to the other cities or surrounding cities, what's happening in your community, what's the population that's being affected the most. You got to provide data. You have to provide data to be able to prove that this is a serious problem in your community, and this is why your organization was created, in order to do one of two things: decrease the rates or eradicate it altogether. That's the whole reason why you start a nonprofit. You have to be able to show a grant funder how you plan on doing that. You have to show what the need is first. Not to say we're looking to do this and in a broad way. Show in particular, with data, with proof, with evidence, why this is a need for your organization, and why their funding is going to be able to support in fixing this need. So that's reason number 4. Reason number 5, last but not least, is you have an inadequate budget. I say inadequate budget because you haven't done your due diligence to see what is the cost of said programs. You don't have a budget. You haven't done your due diligence if you're partnering with facilitators, professionals that are willing to lend their expertise to help you in the. Are you paying them? What is the budget for their payment? Are they working full-time, part-time, within your programs? You're just kind of making up numbers. Do you have a venue? Is this a hybrid program? Is this a virtual program? What is the budget for it then? Does the budget match the information that you're providing? For example, the budget is going to be different for a brick and mortar. Like if your organization is providing a program where you are a face-to-face and you're paying for this venue, you're paying rent or whatever, versus it being a virtual program where maybe you're only paying for the software every month to be able to facilitate this program. You have to be able to make sure that the budget matches what it is that you're saying. These grant committees, they are savvy. They know what things cost. They've read enough grant applications. They've done their due diligence to know how much certain things are typically, going to cost. So when you start putting out a budget where, say, you really only need $10,000 to facilitate your program, but you're asking for $25,000, that's going to be a reason why they decline, because they're saying you're not fiduciarily responsible. You haven't done your research, and this is going to be money that is not going to be well spent because it doesn't require that. So where is the other money going, right? So an inadequate budget is going to be one of the reasons why, a common reason why, and that's because a lot of these grant applications will ask you, what is your project budget? What is your annual budget? So this allows them to see, does it align? Have you done this? And you may need to sit down with a bookkeeper or an accountant or someone who's good with numbers to be able to assist you in saying, these are the programs that we want to offer each and every year. This is how much it costs. So this is going to be our annual budget, and then be able to articulate in detail why each project costs what it costs. So that way you'll be able to articulate that in your grant application, so it makes sense to the grant committee. And when they see it, they can say, okay, this is an accurate budget that we can say, if we give money to this organization, this is where the money's going to go. We can see where the money's going to go. So those are the 5 top common reasons. If you are not having success in getting your grants approved, that's probably one of them, or multiple ones. So you might need to tighten up any one of these areas before you write another grant application. Instead of writing another grant application, sit down with your team, sit down with whoever the person is that's doing your grants, and be able to say, look, I need to tighten this up. And if your grant writer is saying, I need more information, don't get frustrated with your grant writer. The only reason why they're asking is because they know the information that you're providing is not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough in comparison to your competition and what they know grant funders are looking for. That just means, hey, we got to get back to the drawing board before we sit up here and write another grant application, to make sure that we have more success with the grant applications. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. So even if it's one grant application, if it's a quality grant application, that's better than writing 5 grant applications that the quality of it, most likely you're going to have all 5 declined. So make sure that you take this information in and see where you need to improve, and then go back to and try again. Maybe you may want to start with a small grant versus a larger grant, just to see how you're turning that around. And if you see success, then start going after the larger grant applications that are going to be requiring more information, but now you're more ready and you have a better understanding. So if you take nothing away, the first thing you want to do before you start a grant application is read the guidelines. Read the guidelines before, because that's going to help save you a lot of time, energy, and disappointment. So that's the information that I wanted to share with you this morning. I hope that it was beneficial to your organization. If you want one-on-one consultation, I am absolutely available. You can reach out to me through my website, utopianenterprisebiz and .com. That's BIZ, and hit book consultation, and let's get together and see how I can assist you in being able to take your organization to the next level, or if you're just starting, to get your organization started off the right way. So I will see you all next week, God willing, for another live on nonprofit content to help your organization fulfill its mission in real time.